Okay. Hi, thanks for joining. Can you
Uh,
explain about what's the role and responsibility of a BA and what a BA does every day in their job?
okay, so roles and responsibilities for BA is basically to be like a middleman. They're like a liaison and a bridge between the business and the technology and the business owner, rather, I would say, because they tend to get the requirements from the business owners, then they explain it in an understanding manner to the technical department where they'll be able to, you know, bring them into practice or bring the goals and the objectives of the company into pass. Then also they gather the requirements, business requirements. They follow up using the tools and techniques of business analyst.
Okay. Do you know any elucidation techniques? Can you explain some in detail?
Yeah, elicitation techniques can be a focus group, and it can also be using the observations, having the sharing about the questionnaire, sending it to the business owners, then also the okay, I know I know them actually, but right now it's just all over my head. All right. So basically that's just it. The interview, the focus groups, the workshops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those are the main things of the elicitations.
Okay.
And with the workshop works more for me because you'll be able to interact with one another.
Right. So do you know what's
Yeah.
the difference between brainstorming session and focus groups?
Yeah, brainstorming. Okay, focus group means if, for example, you just asked to do a particular thing to a particular set of customers, or you're having a wide range of them. I don't know if I'm getting it right actually, but this is just my knowledge on it. So getting them in a wide range, in a range, you need to focus on those particular people, or you focus on the particular range of thing you're trying to produce to a set of people. Let's take, for example, you're getting an application and old people, let's say from 70 to 80, they are not able to get application or to work on the applications. But you have the younger ones, those are the people that you tend to focus on, or those are going to be your target. So in the sense that you're going to be analyzing and you'll be bringing out points of things you think they can do in that particular area. And for the brainstorming, it means if they've done something of such of the project before, you check out for the lapses. What have they done wrong? Or what do they need to add? How do they need to improve on it? So that's just brainstorming. I don't know if I'm correct.
Yeah, kind of. So in focus groups, right? It is
Yeah.
like you're calling like specific group of people, and you will be the one who'll be choosing the topic. So you already know the topic. You'll be the facilitator, and you'll be like just focusing on a particular topic.
Okay.
And those people will be like subject matter experts on that topic. Whereas in brainstorming, you're open to different topics and different ideas and different opinions. So you just like it's going to be like a random talk.
Yeah, yeah, okay, okay.
That's the difference. Yeah, but you sounded right. Okay. Do you know, have you done any type of testing as a BA? What are the different type of testing and how did you coordinate during testing?
For testing, we have the user acceptance testing. That's going through the acceptance criteria. So those are you have the positive and the negative under the acceptance criteria, which is also the user testing. I don't know if I'm mixing it up actually. All right. So this talking about the positive, it's the product that needs to work as required. What are the goals and the objectives? Is it working well? So that's the positive. Then talking about the negative is when it's not working or the goals and objectives of the particular project is not being achieved.
Okay. So can you give me an example of a user acceptance testing, like a use case? Like,
Okay, like a use case scenario, we are having a particular website, and on the website, we need a login page. Under the login page, you also have a user, a use, sorry, you have a user story over there, which talks about maybe you have you sign in already, you have an account with them, you need to sign in, and if you don't have an account, you need to sign up with them. So those are part of the examples. And if you don't have an account or you forgot your password, then it needs to redirect you back to explain to you why maybe to request your password back, and that is going to be sending maybe an email to you, or is going to be sending a text to your phone to get a particular code in order to be able to access the site.
Great. So, as a BA, right, can you tell me some of the difficult situations that you have handled in your project?
Okay. One of the difficult situations is, you have families and probably you have problem in your family and you're trying to bring it into business, or that's an example. And another one is probably you're sending I was sending an email to a particular person which is in the team, and he has refused to respond. So I don't know why he refused to respond. So in that case, you just need to act as professional as possible. You need to be professional with the job, because people tend to leave jobs too. So what if the person leaves the job? What then happens? Does it mean the job is going to slack, or what will happen? So at that particular point, I have to pick up the responsibility in order not to in order to bring out the success, or to get the success of the work.
Okay. So how do you deal with difficult stakeholders? Okay, so someone who's not cooperating, and suppose you're starting a project from scratch and you don't have any kind of documents, like in such scenarios as a BA, how can you be proactive?
Okay. First off, like I said earlier, I need to be as professional as possible when it comes to that. And another one is we need to define the goals and the objectives of the particular project, and we need to keep reminding them how we want it to look like, and the goals and the objectives, the aim of that particular project before starting. And with that, we need to call in we need to start the internal meeting, like having to meet with the teams each and every time we have the opportunity to. And I always try as much as possible to send them emails and copy all of them in the team in order to have a team work.
Okay. Do you have any experience documenting?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Um,
What are
so
the
the
documents have
okay,
you done?
so the documenting, we have the BRD, which is the very important one. That's the business requirements development business requirements document. Then we also have some of the tools which we use in documenting. We have the Jira, and we also have the conference. And for the Jira, it comprises of the user case, user stories, and also the test and the epics and the defects. And to talk about the conference, it's the requirements gathering, where we have the meeting and the notes over there too. So basically, those are the documents. Then we have more documents. For example, we have the change request process too. That's when the business owners are trying to tell us that, okay, they don't want this particular thing, they want this, they don't want that, So we have to start up the change request process.
Okay, great. So what are the tools you have used as a BA for documenting?
Okay, yeah, like I said, I've used the Jira, and I've also used the Confluence, and I've used the Azure, Azure, AZURE.
Okay. So what is the methodology that your project you're working, right? What's the methodology they follow?
Okay, they follow strictly the Agile methodology.
Agile. Okay. So when we
Yes.
say Agile, what is this sprint timeline for your project?
Okay, for Agile, for the sprint timeline is 2 weeks. That's we have the minimum of 1 week and to the max of 4 weeks at most. So you'll be able to show your business owner a particular thing you've been doing, so they'll see you actually working. And if there's any correction that we have to make, we'll make it right in there before we proceed to the other one.
Okay, great. Can you tell me how do you document a user story in Jira? What's the format?
Okay, to document user story in Jira, let's take, for example, we have the login page. It's just the features, the features. Let's say you have the login page. Under the login page, you're going to have the sign in, you're going to have the sign up. If the person or the stakeholder customer does not have the requirements login details, he or she is going to sign up first. Then after signing up, so those are the things that are those are the features under the login details. That's what I'm trying to explain. So when you sign up, then it will be able to redirect you back into the system of the login, which you'll be able to sign in. So we need to be taking it when the completion is done. Okay, we've completed the user sign in. Okay, we've completed the sign up particular page. So that's just the way we tend to document in Jira.
Okay, great. Do you know how to draw diagrams? What are the different types of diagrams have you drawn?
Yeah, not to draw diagrams because diagrams, some people in business do not really like to read the whole story. So we just tend to use diagrams to explain to them. And we have the user case, we have the flow chart diagram, and we have the process diagram, and we have the data flow diagram too. So those diagrams tend to explain how the system or how the particular technology or website or whatever project we're doing, it tends to explain how it's going, actually, how the process is going.
Okay, great. Yeah. Can you tell the difference between functional requirements and non-functional requirements?
Okay, when you talk about functional requirements, that is in line with the aim and objective of the project. So let's say for a functional requirement, you want the system to be able to log in people into it. You want the system to be able to, capture people's name or capture faces, or especially when you're dealing with the security aspect of it, you want it to be able to capture the face. So those are the functional aspects of the particular system. And when you talk about the non-functional, you're talking about you want it to be able to send email. Those are the non-functional. You want it to be able to send messages to people. You want the scalability, the durability, those are the non-functional. Not like we don't really concentrate on them, but they are not the main thing. It's the functional of the system that we are after. The aim and objective why we started the system, that's what we're after. So in that case, we also tend to I also tend to use the Moscow, which is the must have, the should have, the could have, and the would have. So we can also relate it to that when we're dealing with the functional and the non-functional of the system of the project.
Okay, good. Okay, when you write a BRD, right, what are the important topics we need to cover?
So sorry, please, can you come again?
Yeah, when you write a BRD, a business requirement document,
Okay, okay.
what are the mandatory things that we need to cover? What do you think?
Okay. When we write the BRD, the things we need to cover is, one, we need to cover the name of the project. We need to cover the sponsors. Who are the sponsors for this project? We need to cover the table of contents of the project. We need to hacks. That's when we do the gathering, we do the workshop, or we do the questionnaire, or whatever thing we tend to do in order to gather the information. So those informations, those are the things that is going to be captured in the business requirements documents. But the table of contents is very important. Then followed by any other business or any other thing we need to include in it. But mainly the discussions and the whole workshop or the seminars we've been doing or brainstorming are the things that are going to be captured in the that are going to be captured in the BRD.
Okay, great. How do you capture in scope requirements? What is in scope, out of scope, and what is scope creep?
Okay, when you talk about in scope, you talk about the major things that the system should have. Okay, for example, you can say we want to have a particular website and want the website to be in English. And if you're saying, okay, fine, we don't want it to be in English, we want it to be out, we want to be in French or to be in Spanish. So that's out of scope already because the main focus is for it to be in English. But if you want it to be in French or you want it to be in Spanish, then that's a different scenario. And we need to start the whole business requirements document all over again because it was not included in the original document. So that's examples of the scope and the out of scope.
Okay, great. Yeah, very good. So when a stakeholder is constantly changing requirements, right? Like how do you deal that situation?
Okay, fine. Everything still boils down to the aim and the objectives of the project. I'll make them understand that you, if we actually do it this way, this is the way it's going to turn out. But if you actually do it the way I'm trying to process the whole thing, this is the way it will turn out. So fine, it's a reason why you're trying to hire me. I'm trying to do my job. So if you keep changing from one thing to the another every seconds, every minute, it's going to keep destructing the particular project we're after. And don't forget that we have a time frame that we need to complete this project at, especially when we are doing the agile and it's the sprint that we're using. So we have a particular time frame we need to cover the project. So if you keep changing and changing, we're going to need to start all over again, and it's going to obstruct. It's going to destruct processing time, and we need to be updating the BRD every minute, every time. And also, we just have to keep using the change request process. Keep doing that. That's after the project has been done, and you still request a particular change. So we keep using the change request process.
Okay, very good. So when it comes to defects, right? Like what are the types of defects and how do you fix them?
Defects. Sorry, can you please expatiate when you talk about defects?
So when you do user acceptance testing, okay, so you come up, you do the business owners, they are doing the testing and they come up with defects, right? Defects or bugs.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Now
do
I
you
get it.
know what are the different types of defects and like how can we fix that?
No, I don't know the different type of defects,
Okay.
but but if I'm being granted the job, what I will actually explain is that when it comes to defect, that's why we have the Scrum Master, and that's also why we have the software testers. So before we bring it to the business owners to test, we must have done our own research and our own homework very well, trying to look at the requirements, trying to look at what is in the document, connecting it together with the particular projects that we've done before we'll be able to present it to the business owners.
Okay, great. Um, okay, let's get into a little more about SQL. Do you know SQL?
Okay, I do know SQL, just the basics of the SQL, and I know the trying to select, trying to delete, try to update on the particular document that we're working on. And SQL basically is just an is a database that you just have to keep querying. But you can say, okay, fine, for this particular site or particular app that we have, how many young people do we have using
Okay,
it in a week, in a month? So basically, that's just what SQL is, and it's a programming language.
right. So can you give me an example for select statement?
To select statements, um, okay, so basically, I'm not very grounded in SQL, but when I'm being hired on the job, it's something I can learn fast because I'm a fast learner. So I'm able to adapt adapt to the working environment.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, let's talk about like reporting. Have you done any kind of reporting? Do you know how to create a report?
Yes.
Okay, can you give me an example as a BA? Like, what are the different types of reporting you have done?
Okay. Types of reporting we've done is at the end of it depends on the report actually, because while the project is going on, we can then try to write the reports to tell them how far we've gone and what is left for us to do. And also when the project is completed, we write a complete report of how we started and how we finished the project. So it's just like documenting the particular work we've done.
Okay. Can you tell me what's the difference between waterfall and agile methodology? What are the major differences?
Okay, so when you talk about waterfall, it's the act of doing a particular job or a particular project bit by bit. So let's say we have 6 features in a particular project. We just have to take the 6 features one after the other, and using the sprints and using the Scrum process to Scrum methodology in the Agile. So it's just doing it bit by bit. So if there's a particular mistake in it, you'll be able to correct it at that particular running time. And if talking about the waterfall now, it takes time. It takes like 6 months or 1 year or 2 years. It depends on how big the project is. So you just plan everything at once, then you begin to execute. So it takes longer time to be able to complete the particular project compared to Agile.
Great. Do you know why like most companies are like following agile methodology? Now, what's the pros and cons of using an agile methodology?
Okay, for Agile methodology, it's actually because you are able to show the business owner what you are doing at that point in time. After 2 weeks to 4 weeks, you're able to tell them how far you've gone and what it's remaining for you to do. And if they have anything to correct or anything to change, it will be done instantly compared to Waterfall, where you finish the whole project. And after finishing the whole project in Waterfall, for you to be able to correct a particular thing, it might cost you more compared to Agile.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about agile methodology. Okay. So in
Okay.
agile methodology, what are the different kind of meetings you have? Like, can you explain all the terms in agile? Like, what are the different meetings you have, and what is an everyday stand-up call? Like, what do you do?
Okay. In Agile, everyday stand-up call, what we try to talk about is we brainstorm mostly, and we have the workshop, and sometimes we have the questionnaire to be able to explain better or to be able to know more about the particular project we're doing and what we need to make improvements on. So it's just trying to accomplish the particular project in a bit by bit process.
Okay. What's the difference between sprint planning meeting and sprint retrospective meeting?
Okay, sprint planning is where you bring in the whole stakeholders to discuss the particular project you're working on. While sprint returns is where you actually bring in the team members alone of the developers to discuss or to have a meeting with them in order to achieve the particular aim and objective of the project.
Okay. So during a sprint planning meeting, right, how do you calculate the story points? What's the criteria for calculating the story points?
For calculating the story points, you have 1 to 8 hours. I'm not I'm not quite sure with that. I'm not quite sure with calculating the story point.
Okay. So do you know what is a story point?
Yes, I remember I've heard it before and I've seen it before, but I can't figure out, I can't remember how I to calculate it actually.
Okay. So every user story needs to be given a point, right? It's 1 pointer, 2 pointer, 3 pointers, five
Yeah.
pointers. Yeah. So based upon like level of effort, like how much hours it will take. Like one story point is equal to 8 hours.
Okay.
So if a
Okay.
user story is, if we are giving 1 point to that user story, it means it takes 8 hours to get completed.
Okay.
So that's how we calculate the story points.
All right.
Okay. Okay, let me stop the recording now.